this video, we're going to build on our previous video. We're going to deploy an application in a container using our base image that we created last time, and I think we're going to run Emby Streaming Media Server in our container. It's a simple deployment, and it's not going to be too difficult and take too long to deploy. And after that, we're going to configure Compose, and we're going to use Compose to manage our new container. And let's see, again, as usual, running in a Fedora 43, a VirtualBox VM, and the latest updates are installed. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing we need to do is look at our saved images, or the images we've created so far. We'll do a Docker images, and we have our Fedora min, which is the base image that we created last time, and we have an Emby fed image here, so I could try out this process before I did it here in the video to make sure everything worked fine. And it did. So let's go ahead and get started. First, let's see where we're at. We're in our home directory. Let's do an ls, and let's go ahead and make a workspace or a staging area for us to do our thing here. So let's make a directory. We'll call it Emby demo. Okay, let's cd into that. Let's do a clear. First thing we'll do is we'll make our Docker file. And when we run our Docker file, it will take our Fedora base image and it will install Emby, deploy Emby, and then start Emby. It'll produce an image that executes those tasks. So let's go ahead and do a vi docker file. Okay, insert. First thing we need to do is identify the base image that we created. So we'll do a from Fedora underscore or dash anyway, I guess, min 1.0. Okay. Next thing we need to do is do a run command. This will download install the Emby packages or package. So let's do a run micro DNF because we're using the minimal Fedora installation. -y install, and then https github.com media browser Emby .releases /releases download, and this will be version 4.9.5.0. I believe that's correct. /Emby-server-RPM, and let's see, underscore 4.9.5.0 underscore x86 underscore 64.rpm. And I think that is 0 underscore, see where I'm at here, x86 underscore 64.rpm. Let's see, let's go through this real quick. Emby Server RPM underscore. I'm going to say that's good. We can always adjust it if it doesn't run properly. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to set an entry point, which is going to run the server once the container is started. So we'll do that's a bracket, quote, opt Emby server bin Emby server, and then closed quote, and then closed bracket. And I think that's it. Let's hit enter. Let's do an escape. Right, quit. And our next step here will be to build our image. So let's do a docker build -t, and let's call this Emby demo 1.0, and then a dot period at the end. Go ahead and run this and see how it looks. Seems to be going okay so far. Looking good. Shouldn't be too much longer. We're in the final stages of the image creation. Anytime now. Come on. Try to avoid as much dead space or dead time in these videos as possible. And finished. So let's do a clear. No errors. So we can see up here it says finished. So it's good. Let's do a clear and let's check out our image. Let's do a okay, so we can see here our new image, Emby Demo 1.0 that we just created. And our next step will be let's go ahead and start the container, or run the image, start the container. We'll use the manual command like we did in our original video where we created our when we started up our base image. And then after this, we'll create our Docker Compose file and run it through Docker Compose, which is much easier to do than to type out big old long huge command every time you want to run a container. So let's go ahead and let's do a Docker run. Get some focus first. Docker run -it -d -p for the port. We need to open up 8096 inside of our container. That's the port that Emby runs on. So it'll be 8096:8096, and we'll do a name. We'll name this Emby. So that'll be our container name once it's running. And we're going to use that image up there, Emby Demo 1.0. And let's go ahead and hit enter. And it looks like it's good. So let's do a Docker ps-a. And you can see we're running successfully. This is the startup command that we put into the Docker file that we applied to our image, and we're running off of port 8096 TCP. And let's see, what we also need to do is open up the firewall in this VM, so the host environment or operating systems on the outside can access this container. So let's do a sudo firewall command, and this will be add port equals, and this will be 8096/TCP, and we'll make that permanent. All right, well, it's already enabled, but anyway, that's what we need to do. If this were not already enabled, then we would run this command to open up that port. So let's go ahead and open up a browser. See if we can access our instance of Emby. And let's see, of course, and this server is .14, I believe. Go ahead and copy and paste that up here, hit enter, and there we go. So we're at the starting initial stage, configuration stage of the initial Emby server startup, and it looks good to me. Our next step will be to create our Docker Compose file. And so in this example here, just starting it up like this, if we can go through this configuration step here and then we destroy our container and restart from the image again, all of our configuration will be gone. It'll not persist. You'll have to start from scratch again right here. So we can use a Docker Compose file, which will take care of all of that. We'll create a volume that will store all of the configuration, and it will it'll be persistent. So you can just destroy your container, recreate it from the image and whatever, and your configuration will still exist on the system, and you'll pick up where you left off. And I think that's it at this point. So our next step will be, like I said, we'll create the Docker Compose file and set up a more stable environment, more easy to manage, and let's go ahead and move on with that. Okay, so for this step, we're going to have to stop our container and then destroy it. So let's do a Docker stop and then hit enter. Now let's do a Docker container prune, and that will get rid of this. Any containers that are not running, it'll delete them. Okay, so it's gone, and we're back at the beginning. So let's go ahead and clear this. We'll do a vi compose .yaml YAML, enter. Oh, okay, focus first. Compose.yaml. Okay, let's go ahead and create our compose file real quick. So we need a insert, which is our services, colon, enter, and Emby, colon, and we'll identify our image file, which will be the image we created, image demo 1.0, container name, which will be, what are we going to call this? Let's say Emby Fed or Emby Fedora. Emby _ Fedora. So when our container starts, that'll be what it's named. Let's do a restart, which will restart the container if the system goes down that it's running on, and unless it's manually stopped, purposely stopped. Let's see. Unless stopped. Okay. And let's see down here, ports. That will be 8096 colon 8096 end quote. And let's see, we'll back out to here. Volumes. This volume is what we use to make the config files and everything else persistent, so they don't disappear if you destroy your container. And this will be Emby _ conf. We'll say that. We'll call it that. Emby _ conf colon, and then the path inside the container to the configuration files, which will be var lib Emby. Enter. Let's go down here and we'll do another one called devices. And this will allow the container to use the host system's resources for whatever it's doing. We'll do a dev dri colon and then dev dri. And then down here, let's go all the way to the front and we'll do a volumes colon, and we'll name our Emby _ conf file that we named earlier. So we're basically initializing this volume that we named up here. Let's go ahead and escape. Right quit. Let's go ahead and do a docker ps-a. We have no containers running at the moment, so let's do a docker compose up. Oh, so it's a typo in the command here, this entry here. There should be a dash and not an underscore. Again, like I said before, nobody's going to type everything perfect all the time, so let's do a clear. Make sure our nothing's running, so let's go ahead and try that again. Oh, come on, did I do that again? Yes. Append dash. Give me a break. All right. Let's go ahead and run this container again, or run this command again. There we go. Emby is starting up, and we can run a -d in the startup command that we just ran, and that will push all of this in the background. But in this case, we didn't do that, so we can just hit D, and that will complete that for us. It'll run everything in the background. So let's do a docker. There's our Emby server. It's running 8096 Emby Fedora, what we named it in the compose file. We can do a docker stop or docker compose stop, and it will stop the container. We can do a ps-a, and we can see that our container is still available, but it's stopped at the moment. And we can do a start, and it will start it. And again, it's up and running, and you can do the same thing with up and down, and that will destroy your container. Down will destroy your container, stop it and destroy it. Up will recreate your container from the image and bring it up and start it. So that's pretty much it. Let's go to the browser here and go through the same process we did before. And I need to delete this faulty URL. This is 14. Do a copy. And there we go. We're here. We're running our Docker container. We have access to it, and we're managing it with Docker Compose. So Docker Compose is like the mini version of, I guess Kubernetes would be like the enterprise utility for this type of thing. And if you have multiple containers that you need to manage and whatever, this Docker Compose allows you to manage small environment. Something like this, you have a few containers running. Kubernetes is like major overkill, so Docker Compose would be a better option for that. But anyway, I think that's it. I'm not going to keep rambling on. Everything seems to work fine. We'll go ahead and end here, and thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it's useful. Please, as always, like my videos and subscribe to my channel. I'll try to put out as much useful information as possible, and we'll go from there. All right. Thank you, everybody. See you soon. Bye.